Hey kids, it's me again, Uncle Robbie, and you're back on Uncle Robbie's Science Corner. Okay kids, today's science project is clean a rifle. Now, I'm sitting around, have nothing to do. You know, I've actually been cleaning my house. I've been cleaning my guitars. I've been cleaning my amplifiers. I actually just armor rolled my Marshalls. I really got to do some videos on my Marshalls. I love these things. It's just, you know, they're just so big and unruly to move around and get a good background for. But I will one of these days. My house is just really small. Literally, you know, all my stuff is on top of each other. But anyway, I decided to go through the gun collection. Just, you know, I haven't touched this one. As a matter of fact, the last time I touched this one was when I took my son hunting 4 years ago when he was 16. So that's the last time this thing has actually been out of its little bag case. And what happened was I noticed when I took it out, if you can see that, oh, can you? Right around the serial number, there's some pitting. Oh, you can see it now. You can see that pitting and that rust on just one side of the receiver. It's not on this side. It's just on this. Now, this is a Marlin 336 in 30-30 caliber, okay? And this is 30-30 caliber, okay? As you can see, this is, you know, not your assault type weapon. It's actually lever action, and what that means is you feed your bullets into this side loading chamber port thing, and you push them up into this tube. And this is this lower tube. This is the barrel. This is the one the bullet actually shoots out of. This lower tube is actually the magazine. Okay, it's not a detachable box magazine. It's a tube. It's called a tubular magazine, and this rifle is legal in every state. It's great. These are great rifles to have. This is probably it was probably the #1 deer rifle. Lever actions were probably the #1 type of deer rifle, especially 30-30 was the #1 deer caliber for years and years and years and years. You know, these are great in this part of the country because, you know, there's a lot of brush here. You don't get too many real long-distance shots around here. I mean, every once in a while you'll take a shot over 300 yards, but that's only if you're shooting across a valley or in the middle of a big bean field or cornfield or something like that. This is a great rifle to have if you're in brush country or if you're in, you know, if you're in thick woods. You know, you're like in a tree standing in the middle of the woods. And this rifle is zeroed at, I believe, 50 yards. Okay, because that's the furthest shot that my son was ever going to take in the woods up the hill from my, you know, my old farm, my old house out in farm country. So really, it's an affordable rifle. This one is actually one of the Remlins, they call it. It's a Marlin, but it was made by Remington Arms, and I believe, yep, this was one of the ones made right here in Ilion, New York, which is actually one of the plants that Cuomo closed down, saying gun manufacturing is non-essential. But this was made right here in the good old USA, right here in good old upstate New York. Great place. Now I'm going to show you what we got to do to get rid of this pitting. Okay, so I'm back, and what we're going to use just is regular basic good old Rem oil, okay, and a brass brush. This one's pretty worn out, but this is good for the purpose of what we're using. So what I'm going to do, I'm just kind of going to give this a little spray down with the Rem oil, okay, and I'm going to focus the camera down here so you can see exactly what I'm doing, okay? So what you want to do, it's almost like polishing out a guitar. You just want to take your brush and start making small round circles. Okay? Now right here is the serial number. You can actually feel that the rust got into the exposed metal in the serial number and actually raised it up. So that's how rusted this got. The reason why I think this rusted on one side and not the other is this. When it was in my gang box, I had this big toolbox basically, and this thing was big enough to hold 8 chainsaws with 24-inch bars on them. Okay, just put on top of side by side, 2 here, bars facing each other, then 2 more on top of each one. So it's quite a big thing. And this one was right at the bottom of the box, okay? And unfortunately, the moisture, I guess, at the bottom of the box was great because it's really damp here. I live right on a lake, and it's beautiful. But I tell you what, there's no cellar under this house. This house was built with materials that was stolen from the railroad, and basically one piece at a time, and they built a house out of it. So there's no cellar, very damp, and like my one bass neck is my acoustic bass guitar, my Washburn. The neck on that is just like a bow and arrow right now, but it's reverse bowed, but it is like this, totally unplayable. So I'm going to try and get that, situated. So what you want to do is just make smaller and smaller scratches in this finish, trying to grind out these rust spots. And what this is doing, you can see it's smoothing out the rust spots, but it's also taking off some of the bluing. Okay? And you can see this discoloration here. That's basically just the brass brush and the oil and dirt and I guess cigarette smoke, because this was hanging on my wall for a while. I was very proud of it. I had this one hanging over the fireplace, but I decided it'd be better off if I locked it up. Seeing how as if somebody broke in my house and decided to steal the decorations off the wall. A guitar is one thing, but having a rifle taken, can lead to how do you call it? Unfortunate circumstances. Let's just put it that way. Okay, guys, so I've scrubbed this thing. You can see how it's kind of a golden color, and the other side's still black. It's kind of a golden color because of the wire brush and the rust, a combination of different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my rag right here. Okay, I don't want to get too much of this rem oil on the wood. It doesn't really hurt it, but I just don't want to waste too much. Get stuck on the rag, I can just wipe it up. And basically, what you do, give it a good, liberal spray down with the rem oil. Let it soak in for a second. Okay, and you can see that rust stuff just starts coming off. And it wipes right off. Alright? But now you're going to be able to see another inherent problem. Okay? That rust, and I can feel it, okay, has pitted. I'll get right up close. Okay? See that? That's all pitting. That's all pitting on the receiver. Alright? And, that's not making me happy. And you know that I like to be happy. Is there any rust over here? There's a little bit more on here. Then I'm just going to take a second to scrub off. There's some on this side of the lever. I'm just going to take a minute to buff that out with the wire brush. And I'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to remedy all this pitting. Isn't that horrible? Oh my God, look at that. And that's right down to the bare metal, but I've got most of the rust out of it. I'm going to show you how we're going to remedy that in a second. Okay, I'm back. I finished scrubbing this thing down, and as you can see all them white spots? That's the actual bare metal of where the rust spots were. So it's all pitted. Now, if I call this good and say, oh yeah, it's done, it's just going to rust back up again. It's going to get worse. Rust is especially with these finish, with these matte, like Parkerized type of finish. Once rust pits get into it, if you don't put something in it, and regular oil's not going to work, it's just going to keep doing it. And I mean, really, look at that. That looks like a screensaver from Star Trek or something like that. So the solution is to use this product, and it's called Birchwood Casey. Can you see that? Super Blue. There you go. And the way you put this on is you take your Birchwood Casey Super Blue and you take a little patch of cleaning cloth. This is an old towel I had. Like I said, this is one of the ones that I ripped up to polish out guitars with. And this is one I got when I was in the Army. This used to be white. And of course I was in the Army almost 30 years ago. So, you know, it was about time I used it to either wax the car or do something. And this Birchwood Casey Super Blue, wow. It's eaten away the little, you know, plastic and paper seal thing on it. So I really don't think I should put this just in my gun cleaning box, because I don't think it's going to seal up anymore. So I'm going to have to put this on under the sink or something, someplace where it won't tip over and spill. And what you do is you take a little bit of this, right? Okay? It's just a little liquid. It's kind of clear looking. And I drip some right on the receiver anyway. And you see what happens. As soon as you drip it on the receiver, look at that. It darkens it right up. And sometimes it takes several applications of this. And actually, that worked pretty good, just dumping it right on. You can see it's darkening up. I prefer to wipe it on a little at a time. And what happens is you can't do it just all in one coat. And you can see like all that black shit coming. That's the dirt coming out, and that's it turning blue. It's blue in the steel. That's like oxidation. It's not really dirt. It's oxidation. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this stuff. It actually is a kind of blue-colored liquid when it's wet, and I'm going to get it on there nice and wet. I'm going to wet this down really good with this blue, and you can see it. You can see how it's filling up them rust spots right quickly. I'm just going to keep doing this, okay? And see how that's turning the rust spots black. And what bluing is, it's just one chemical that you put on the steel. It causes a chemical reaction with the metal, and just somehow it gets bare metal with this you know, I guess it's like a type of oxidation reaction. I don't know if anybody out there is a chemistry expert. Leave it in the comments, so you know, I don't know if I'm wrong about this. I mean, correct me, please, because you know, when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. But you can see how this is really doing a job on this receiver. This is probably going to take a couple of more applications, but you can see already how you can't see the white spots anymore. You can still see the pitting, but you can't see the little white spots. And this stock blue will... Well, it's not stock blue. Stock blue is like an ink that you put on metal when you're machining it. But this you know, steel blue steel. Like in the Army, when we did bayonet training, we always yell, "Kill, kill, kill" with the cold blue steel. And bluing is just a chemical process that basically keeps the metal from oxidizing. So I'm going to do that a couple of more times, and I'm going to show you how this comes out. It really actually makes it nice and black again. So maybe I should start re-bluing some of my guns. I'm going to put a little on the bolt too. What the hell? Can't hurt, right? The bolt, because it's a different type of metal and it's a smoother metal, it doesn't really rust out that much. And this, you know, like anything, I had a 357 Magnum Ruger GP100 a long time ago, and I took it and I put it in my trunk of my car. And I left it in the trunk of the car for like, I don't know, 3 days. And it was in the spring, so it was damp, and I pulled it out and it was completely pitted. I mean, rust on stainless steel, and I was like, oh, fuck. I brought it to the gun shop, and the guy's like, he says, I can fix it. It's going to take a hell of a lot of, and he got it pretty much perfect. I mean, it looked brand new when he was done. But he did a stainless steel polish, and there is something you use to treat stainless steel so it won't do this. You know, when stainless steel does start, you know, getting little rust spots and pitting on it, the best thing you can do is just get some rem oil, okay, and some really fine steel wool, and just, like I said, French polish it like you're doing a wet sand on a bass guitar finish. So anyway, so that's what that looks like right now. I'm gonna give it a couple more shots of this stuff, and you know, I'll let you see how it comes out. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm back. I rubbed this thing down with the blue, and you can see it's gotten a little bit blacker. I just took a quick rag of rem oil, rub it on there, give it a little bit of a shine up, and also the rem oil will penetrate into the metal a little bit. You know, CLP, you can use CLP rem oil. I like CLP. I use that a lot on my ARs. That's what we used in the Army. I like rem oil on like anything Remington, just because I stick with the brand and whatever. But you can see now, you can still see the pitting a little bit, but you can see how all the little areas have been filled up with blue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that set for you know, a day or so, and just let the whatever it is, the acids and the bluing do their work, or the oxidizers or whatever it is do their work. And after that, I'm going to you know, check it out again tomorrow. And right now it looks good. If it stays like this, I'll be happy. I've actually put a few applications of the Birchwood KC, just show you the product one more time, this stuff on it, and you know, it seems to be working, and hopefully it won't rust back up. And before I put this in its case, I'm going to give it a real good, nice coat of rem oil or gun grease or something, just to keep the air off of the spots that I just re-blued, to keep it from, the air oxidizes the metal. So, but this stuff works really good. I actually blued some axe heads. I do the Waddle, it's called World Axe Throwing League, and I made a couple of like Viking axes out of cold steel Viking axes, and they come in, they're silver, they're bare metal, and they're coated in this cheesy like plastic urethane stuff. So basically, I just set it in I set the whole head of the axe in you know, paint stripper, strip off the plastic or urethane or whatever they put on it, and then I use this blue on it, and it actually is a really good finish. Matter of fact, I got one hanging right here. I'll show you the axe head. Hold on. Okay, so this is that axe I was telling you about, cold steel. It's just a Viking one-hand war axe. It's a little bit big for actual, you know, Waddle. Most people use like an S-Twing hatchet, you know, camp axe or whatever. You can see on this a couple of spots there that have gotta find my blue rag. Have you know, you can see the metal coming through again. So this was down to the bare metal. So the real color of this was like the hardened steel on the edge here. That was the color of the whole thing. And then you take a little of this stuff and you rub it in, okay? So, and this took a few applications of the blue to get it, you know, to make it black like this. So I'm just rubbing it down again. And I did this one probably 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe a little longer, I don't know. I think it was about 4 years ago. I made this, and I just like it. This actually hangs on my wall behind one of my guitars when I'm not throwing it. Also, the head's a little loose. That's because it has a set screw. Basically, all I have to do is just bang the set screw out, and then what you do is you take this outside, and you find like a rock or, you know, a hard piece of wood, and you just really just take and you slam that into the ground until it digs more into the wood. I have to undo the set screw, and then you put the set screw back in, and then it's tight. It's just because this piece of wood, this hickory or whatever it is, ash, it's really nice. You can see I did a little bit of you know, a little bit of carving with a round file on the handle, just kind of like a Viking pattern. Eventually what I wanted to do is get like a leather lacing, like, you know, leather, I don't know what you'd call it, just like leather shoelace, and just wrap this, you know, in the crisscross pattern. It gives it a little bit of a better grip when you're holding it. But I'm gonna pour a little of the birchwood casing on this just to show you the chemical reaction on it. Okay, so I got it here, and just pour out little drippy drop. You know, little drippy drop is AOC's. You know, all the people at the tippy top. On this, you just pour a little drippy drop like that. You don't get this crap all over the place, because it kind of, well, it smells kind of bad, but you just you know, dab it on. And I'm going to let that set for, you can actually see how it's darkening the metal part. Oh wow, look at that. And see how that darkened the edge, you know, right quickly. And the reason why that edge was you know, more silvery colored, you see how that dark that just got, right? Is because when I sharpen this, I sharpen it with like a file and then a stone. The thing's actually pretty sharp. This will stick into a log. And you just put this stuff on, and you let it sit. I think the reason why this didn't get the bluing into it is this still had a little bit of that cheesy plastic urethane finish left in it. But you know what? I've got 2 of these sitting outside on my porch railing. They've been sitting there for like 2 years. And they've been sitting out in the elements, and those heads still have not rusted. But yeah, I think really it's because this, I didn't get rid, yeah, I can actually feel it right there. I didn't get rid of that cheesy finish it comes with. Yeah, I can feel it. Maybe what I'll have to do is just soak this back in the paint stripper. But this went from being silver to being, and you can see the edge went from being silver to being black that quickly. So that's how that works. This is definitely not down to the bare metal. Yeah, I can feel it. This has to be restripped, but I doubt I'm going to do it. Because, I don't know. For the purpose of this, I mean, this is like my last defense melee weapon. You know, it's got the big beard on it. You know, kind of like that's how I did my beard when I still had one. But that's how it works. So that's your little video on how to blue and refinish metal. Okay? I guess. I don't know where this video started. I don't know where it's going to end. Hope you had fun watching it. I got to get ready because right now it's 8:01 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday night. And I've got to get a little bit gassed up and ready for my 10 p.m. live stream. Media Blackout Live. I want you all to check it out. And I'll see you then, hopefully. Until next video, keep on rocking the free world. My computer screen keeps flashing. I don't know if it's really pissing me off. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.